So I want to start this video by saying that this is an effective technique that I also share with the clients that I help. And it's something that I apply in my life also on a weekly basis. And it creates relief and it creates a more understanding of how we're making other people responsible for sending love towards us. And then dismissing them from their responsibility and taking that responsibility for ourselves. And once we have that self-love, that we can send it outwards. The technique is about 10 minutes, but this video will take a little bit longer because in it I will explain how it works, and I will explain also what you will encounter while doing it, and what the dynamics are, and what blockers you might encounter as well. So let's dive into it, shall we? So let's go into the strings or the energy beams of attachment. I have no other words for this, but this is what it is. Like, right? So you can imagine that there's like an energy beam floating out of you. So take this for example, right? So you might be in a relationship right now, or you have parents, of course, right? Or you might have a child, or you might have a boss, or you might have friends. Imagine yourself thinking about these people and see if you get a sense in your body um, when you think about these people, and see if there's like stuckness there. So for example, if I'm thinking about and I did this the other day again, is just like if I think about uh, my wife Beatrice, then I feel this big string, right, flowing in my neck, and that is a telltale sign. It's like I'm actually trying to get confirmation from her. I'm scanning her behavior, trying to see if I'm okay. So I'm dependent on her. I'm dependent on that confirmation. So I start cutting it, or I start pulling it out, and I dismiss her from being responsible for my happiness. So I pull these out, and I dismiss myself from being dependent on her. I release myself from being dependent on her. And this is what the removing the strings of attachments is all about. We cut these strings. Now it gets interesting when we start talking really about the loved ones, but really about our parents. So the other day I was doing it, and I was thinking about my parents, and then I dismissed it right away. I was like, oh, that's going to be easy because I have not been around my parents for a while and haven't talked to them. I don't think there is anything right there, but we'll get back to it. That was a little bit of a flag for me, of course, because I didn't do it right away. So I went to my daughter instead, like Elizabeth, and then I felt this big ball right here. So I started pulling that out, um, and it was quite tough to pull that string of attachment out of me. And what that actually made aware in me is that I was afraid of being a bad dad to her. So constantly I put the pressure on her to give me the confirmation that I'm a good dad, because I had created that label in my head, like good and bad, and I need to be a good dad. Once that string was gone, I created this acknowledgement, and I was allowing myself again, also with that. This is like, it's okay to be a bad dad, whatever that is. I'm allowing myself to be everything, and I'm removing her from giving me the confirmation, that pressure that I need to be perceived as a good dad. So there was instantly a lot of relief there, and then I went to my parents. So right, so and then it was with my mom and my dad. It was like these really big strings. So I started cutting them, cutting them, cutting them. So and pulling them out as well. What I realized there was that I was really still acting on a level subconsciously of trying to please them. So I was scanning the room, I was scanning everybody, trying to see if I'm doing the right things, adjusting my behavior so that I will get the confirmation from them. So by pulling out these strings again, I dismiss everybody of the role of having to please me and have sent love to me. So these beams are really about sending love to me. So try this practice out. So when you pull the beams out, that and see what happens to you. Now, the next thing that you could do is going inside once you have lifted all the beams, or like lifted these strings of attachments off you. Once you have removed all these strings, it's like a kind of like a feel that kind of, or like a weight that kind of gets off your body, and really do this with focused attention, right? Once you have done that practice, you will feel a little bit, you will feel more calmness. And here you can take it to another level. Is by unleashing the beams of love uh, from inside of you. So how you can do that is, once you've dismissed everybody from the responsibility of playing a role in your happiness, you can try to see if you can fill yourself with love. And you can do this by going inside, closing your eyes, and then ask yourself, is this like, can I fill myself with love? Can I create a beam of love inside of me? And there might, and this is often the case, there might be a big blocker. There's something that doesn't allow you to do that. So nothing flows. And you might even question, like, okay, what's that all about, right? Why, uh, why even do that? There is often a blocker on that self-love. So you can go inside, if it doesn't work, you can go inside and ask yourself, it is like, what requirements have I put in place for myself to receive love from myself? So what are the things that I should do to deserve love? And this will create an acknowledgement that there is a requirement. You've placed a requirement on the subconscious level on yourself to receive love for yourself, right? And it's very interesting to just acknowledge that. You don't have to figure out what are the requirements, what are the shoulds. Often the case is like, if you acknowledge it and you see that it is happening, you can question it. It's like, well, is this true? Should I do these things before I deserve self-love? And often the case is, it's no, it's not. So then, once you acknowledge it, the floodgate of love could open right there and then. You've become aware, like, okay, hey, I'm keeping the gate closed to myself. So I'm deciding not to do it. Then let the love flow inside of you, and start really with the heart area and let that love flow. And then you can feel all the areas of tension that you had with this love. You can send this loving awareness to your whole body. Just let it fill completely. And once you have filled yourself completely, you can start sending beams of love towards the people that you have actually cut all the strings of attachment with. So rather than having them flow love to you, you start beaming out love to them. So, right, I do this with my daughter. I do this with my wife. I do this with my friends. I do this with the people I work for. I do this with anybody that is in my life, my parents as well. I send them then my love because I filled myself with love. So I'm no longer dependent on them, and I can send that love to them. So it's beams going outside of me, you know, willing going outside of me rather than beams or strings of attachment latching on, which I'm then dependent on, that things flow towards me. I let things flow outside towards others. So string cutting of the attachment first, then filling yourself with self-love. So it's first the dismissal of giving other people responsibility in your life, of sending love to you, and then you send love to them. That's what this is about. No more receiving love or being dependent on the love that you receive, the confirmations, self confirmation, self love, love outwards.